Morning, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Jungle Show. We're here to talk Auburn basketball, just like we are after every single game and every week out of the year. Today, we are talking about another loss. Auburn falls to Vanderbilt 67-65, and a heartbreaker buzzer beater loss to fall to 18-9 on the year. And the future is very, very uncertain for this Auburn team, but we want to clear it up. We want to talk about it. We want to talk about this game and move forward. And no matter what this Vanderbilt game means, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to leave it in the past. I think that's the best way to do it. If you are listening to this on podcast feed, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button as well as the YouTube feed. Thank y'all for listening. Just want to remind y'all that this season, Auburn Daily has partnered with Prize Picks to bring some fun and variety to the picks for 2023. Prize Picks, again, is a free app that allows you to choose between 2 to 6 players from any sport in your wagers, predict the over-under for the next game, and win big prizes if they do well. They have flex options where you can still get paid on winning 3 of 5 or 2 of 3, or you can have multiple sports in the same parlay. Best of all, use promo code Auburn to receive double on your first deposit up to $100. That's promo code Auburn, AUBURN, for double on your first deposit. This college basketball season, win some big money with Prize Picks and Auburn Daily. Again, use promo code Auburn. So to do that, to talk more Auburn basketball, to talk about this Vandy game and the future of this team and program, I brought in my dad and co-host again. Dad, that one this week's been very weird, and this would be the perfect way to end it.
It is, beating a very good Missouri team by 33, and then going to a red-hot Vanderbilt team and playing in that horrible stadium, which, by the way, Nashville Auburn Club, y'all showed out.
No kidding.
Very impressed.
No kidding.
Most of that stadium was orange and blue. It's just a terrible place to watch a basketball game. There's not a good seat in the house, and I'm including the players and coaches in that statement.
Yeah.
And to have a red hot Vanderbilt team shoot a lot of free throws and then make a driving layup to end the game, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah. Just like you said, this Vanderbilt team is red hot. That Auburn game marks 5 straight wins for the Vanderbilt Commodores and for Jerry Stackhouse after getting absolutely demolished at Alabama, including 2 buzzer beater wins at home against both Tennessee and Auburn. Yeah. So that Vanderbilt team is on the complete uprise. They're playing the best basketball of the year or of their season right now. Mm-hmm. You give credit to Vanderbilt in this game. They played well enough to win.
Yeah, Look, they made their outside shots. We did not.
Yeah.
Their big man was good. Ours was better, but their big man just kept going to the line, and he's a very good free throw shooter. Although he almost airballed one of his first 2, I guess, and I thought he was a better free throw shooter. Well, he only missed 1 more the rest of the night, and he shot a bunch of free throws.
Yeah, so the main storyline from this game is Liam Robbins, 24 points, 12 rebounds, but the 24 points on 3 made field goals. That seems a little odd. 17 of 20 from the free throw line. He shot 20 free throws. Auburn shot 10.
One guy shot 20 free throws.
One guy shot double the amount of free throws that your team shot. And with the Texas A&M game, it got ridiculous. Yeah. For the purpose that it was it felt like in a stretch that every single time they got to the line, no matter what happened. I am on the fence, and I don't know where you are on this. Maybe the exception of 1 or 2 of the fouls called against guys guarding Liam Robbins were fouls.
What fouls?
They were fouls. We were fouling.
I don't think. Look, there were some bad missed calls. There always are. Yeah. It's the SEC officiating, but that's not when I was saying Leon Robinson shot a lot of free throws. He shot a lot of free throws because he fouled him a lot.
Line. Yeah.
And I don't know why we fouled him a lot. because he's a good free throw shooter, and he was not making his 2-point baskets.
No, he was 3 of 10.
Make him shoot over you and box him out and go get the rebound.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that. And look, he's a good shooter from outside. He made an early 3, although Janai matched him and made a 3 of his own.
Yep. Beautiful.
He's massive. He's huge. You can't move him. And we got him in some foul trouble. And when he went out, our centers had a field day because the other guy's not that good.
Yeah.
But Robbins is really good. He's a good player. He's well coached. Stackhouse knows what he's doing. He runs good stuff for him. And they've got other guys that can fill it up from outside.
Yeah, you're
right. It is what it is so right there. We ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah. He had 24 points. We talked about him in the last podcast. We're like, this is the guy you have to stop because he's averaging like 28 and 10 in his past 2-3 games or whatever. And you did. You stopped him. 3 of 10 from the field. He only had 4 defensive rebounds. The problem is he had 8 offensive rebounds, and every time he got an offensive rebound, you fouled him. And he's a great free throw shooter. He went 17 to 20. He actually, in his 27 minutes, was -4 plus-minus. In the game that he was by far the only guy in double digits for Vanderbilt, the only guy in double-digit rebounds as well. And he was -4. He was the worst plus-minus.
That's incredible. It's a weird stat game. Like you said, he makes 3 field goals. One of them's a 3, then 2 other 2-point baskets, and he scores 24 points.
Yeah.
You cannot. And look, Janai played fantastic. Jalen was fantastic. But when you get beat on an offensive rebound, you can't hit him. You got to go, dang it, I got beat.
Yep.
And when he gets an inside shot and he misses it, you still got to box him out. We were trying to block his shot. I don't think we're going to block that guy's shot very often. And he would just throw it up there, and we jump to try to block it. And that one play early in the game, I think he had three attempts at the bucket from 2 feet. Yeah. He's 7 feet tall. He's going to make most of those. So I don't have a problem with how Janai played. I thought Janai played as well as Liam did, by the way. I thought he played right with him.
I think he played better.
I played right with him, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And Jalen was great. We got nothing from our 1 and 2 guards.
Yeah. So
nothing.
First thing I want to mention. I want to talk about the games from Jalen and Janai, because as you were mentioning, both of them played outstanding, played well enough to win, where it looked all SEC caliber type of games for both of them. You combine them too, that's 37 points and 12 rebounds, and both of them were over 50% from the field. That's perfect. If you get that, yeah. I mean, that's amazing. You're going to win 99% of the games that you play. Problem is,
if you get anything from your guard.
Problem is, you're 1 and 2 guards. I'm combining Wendell, who's been great recently.
Yes.
Trey Donaldson.
Yes.
Zeb Jasper.
Yes.
And KD Johnson.
11 points.
You get 11 points and 1 3-pointer. And Wendell Green went 2 of 14.
So let me ask a question.
I don't know what.
Let me ask a question. Last year, and maybe early on this year, Wendell, when he would drive, would throw his body in there and throw it up on the rim and get a foul call. It's almost like they think he's flopping now because they never call it. Mm-hmm. He drives, and it's the same drive. He's still throwing his body on the ground. But when Wendell Green shoots 2 free throws in a game, is 1 of 2 from the free throw line, I don't understand how that's even possible.
Yeah.
Wendell has been tending past 2 games to over dribble into the lane and get himself stuck. He's too small to over dribble. He's just got to go or not go. But you got 11 points. You got 5 from Wendell and 6 from KD. From your 1 and 2, that's your point guard and your shooting guard position.
Yeah.
Now, Wendell had 8 boards. That's fantastic. That's not what we need him for. He only had 1 assist and 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
He had 3 steals. I don't want to come across as banging on Wendell Green. He has carried us through most of the season. The last 2 games, though, he's disappeared.
Yeah. You're definitely right. I just don't know what has happened. In the Missouri game, he was making impacts that were great. He had 9 assists and 0 turnovers in that game. Was fantastic. He had 5 points. He had 5 points in this game, but it just – and he still had 8 rebounds. It just felt like everything he tried to do offensively just was not going to work.
It was a struggle.
Just wasn't going to work. It just was a struggle over and over again. Nothing looked easy. Exactly. And once again, the help that he was getting was from the front court, but nowhere in the back court. I mean, Alan Flanagan had 16 against Missouri, had 5 points in this one, only shot 6 shots. That's one of the lower ends of shots that he had.
How are we okay?
Zep Jasper.
So from your 3 slot, you got 13 points, and that's because Lior was 3 of 5, had 8 points.
Lior had 8. Yeah, who was fantastic, by the way. Lior was probably the 3rd best player on this Auburn team in this game, behind Jalen and Janai.
Oh,
outstanding!
No doubt he was.
Not just on the offensive end.
Drew a charge.
He was great on the defensive end.
He was excellent. He played great.
Yeah.
So the story of this game is our 1 and 2.
Yeah. And that's been the story of the game, the story of the season.
Especially
you've gotten nothing from the 2.
Yeah.
And if your 1 is playing really, really good, you're probably going to win. If your 1 is playing really, really bad, you're probably going to lose.
Well,
that's been the story of the season.
Early in the year, you're right.
If Wendell plays really good, Auburn's going to play really good. No matter if he's putting points on the board, if he plays really well, we play really well. If we don't, and he gets no help as well from his backcourt mate, Zep and KD. I mean, KD had 6 points in this game. He buried that 3 at the end.
Was a huge shot.
It was
By the way,
close.
It was a huge shot.
And I want to talk about that as well. But he's getting nothing. He's getting nothing.
No help.
So
and I thought Trey gave some valuable minutes, but he doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
Trey defends hard.
Yeah.
Trey pushes the ball well. He seems to be under control. And look, again, I'd like to see a little bit more of Trey at the 1 and Wendell at the 2. I've been asking for that, and we saw it a little bit against A&M.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see some more of that because Trey's a bigger point guard and can see stuff better. Wendell, when he gets down in those trees, he can't see anything.
Yeah.
And he tends to panic a little bit. And again, this comes across as I'm banging on Wendell Green. I couldn't do half the stuff he does. He's a fantastic basketball player. He's a fantastic small point guard.
Yeah.
And I know Bruce loves his small point guards, but I would start I'd start looking at trying to get bigger point guards. And he is. I think he is.
Well, I think that changed in this past recruiting cycle for this past year. Your big point guard is sitting in sweats over on the sideline. His name's Chance Westry.
Yeah.
And
I think he was counting on
Israel. In Israel, we saw what a big point guard could do to those small point guards, especially in the All-Star Select game when Westry had 18 and 7 steals.
Yeah.
So I think you've got it. I think we were counting on Chance and Yohan this year to have the kind of impacts that Not the
4
kind
and
of
5-star freshmen do,
yes,
and they're
exactly.
not.
And that's not Chance's fault. And I honestly don't even think it's Johan's fault as well. I think Johan's not ready and Chance is hurt. So it's just how it is. So to kind of wrap this Vanderbilt talk up, a lot of the question now is, okay, you've got 4 games left. One of them's extremely, extremely winnable this week on Tuesday against Ole Miss.
Yeah, well, it's
You've
Wednesday, isn't it?
got to, or Wednesday.
I think
You've
it's
got
Wednesday.
to win that game. That's 100%. You've got to win that.
Yeah.
And then if you can win one of Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee, maybe 2, you're good.
I think if you beat Ole Miss and you beat Tennessee at home, there's no doubt you're in the NCAA tournament.
I think unless you don't go 0-4, you're.
I think you're in if you beat Ole Miss and lose the rest of them. I just think you're one of those teams that on Selection Sunday everybody's biting their fingernails off.
I don't think so. I'm going to tell you why. The metrics are going to save this Auburn basketball
That's
team.
true.
Let me tell you, our rankings in every single metric that is measured in terms of
tournament.
Yes. The strength of schedule
is going to go
Auburn's in the SEC. That's just how it is. The SEC is the second best conference in college basketball this year behind the Big 12.
Lenardi has 8 teams from the SEC right now.
Yes. So that is big, especially as Texas A&M is working in the bubble. Yeah. Kentucky's working their way back in.
Yeah.
Alabama's staying on the 1 line. Tennessee's on the 2 and 3 line. Like that is a big, big deal.
Yep.
But talking about the RPI, the net rankings, and the KenPom.
Okay.
Let me give you the rankings for Auburn in those 3 and tell you teams that they're ahead of.
Okay.
In those rankings. Start with RPI. Auburn is 28th in RPI.
That's really good.
At 18-9, that is above a red-hot NC State team and the Texas A&M team who swept you. So
it's because A&M has 3 quad 4 losses on their record. That's why they're so low in that.
That's right. And that I'm telling you that these rankings for Auburn 3 weeks ago, we weren't talking about them because they were in the mid-40s because that Northwestern win looked a little odd. Now that Northwestern win looks really unbelievable.
It looks really good.
It looks unbelievable because it's a quad 1 win now.
Mm-hmm.
So the metrics just went through the roof for Auburn, even though they're 18-9.
Yeah.
In the net rankings, which is more of a computer generated, as is KenPom, you're 30th.
Still good.
Which is really good, which is above a 22-5 Miami team who has 3 quad 1 wins.
They play in the ACC, which is so bad right now.
But you're talking about yourself above a team who has 4 more wins than you and 4 less losses than you.
Mm-hmm.
If Auburn was 22-5, they'd be top 15 in the country in the AP poll.
Yeah,
because you couldn't take them out.
Yep.
Because you talk about you probably win USC, you win Texas A&M one of those times.
Over.
You win Tennessee.
You win at Georgia.
And you win at Georgia. You're talking about a completely different basketball team. You're talking about a completely different outlook because right now you're looking at the 8 and 9 line of the seeding for the NCAA tournament. And it just depends. Like, not only does it depend on what happens in these last 4 games, but it also depends on what happens in conference tournaments, not just with Auburn, not just with the SEC, but elsewhere as well. So moving on to KenPom, this is the crazy one to me. Auburn is 21st in KenPom, which puts them at the 6 seed line instead of a 9 seed line, which is their current spot. If you just go straight off of KenPom. And they'd be the what?
Which they don't. But yes.
No, they don't. In KenPom, you are higher than 2 top 10 teams. Virginia, you're higher than Virginia and Xavier, who are both on the 2 and 3 seed line. You're also higher than Kansas State, who's 3rd in the Big 12, the best conference in basketball.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. I understand Virginia because they play in the ACC. They're terrible.
That is a computer generation off of what is possible. The computer and the metrics see the success that Auburn can have The computer takes away the inconsistencies that Auburn has shooting the ball from outside, struggles at the 2 guard, struggles with bench production. They take that out and just sees, oh, if this team is successful, even average successful, this team is a 4 seed, a 5 seed. This team should be talking about top 3 in their conference in the SEC. This team is very, very good and very, very capable. They're just not consistent. It just comes down to that.
So the committee meets and goes, yeah, they're in, but they're not 3 or 4 seed. They're not 5 seed. They're probably 8, 9, 10 seed.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to go in. You're going to play a tougher team first round. It's going to be a tough matchup.
But you're also going to play a very tough team in the next round if you win.
Yeah. That number 1 seed if you're the 8-9 bracket, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not what you want to
be. I mean, right now you're talking about either playing Houston, Kansas, Alabama, or who's the other one? Purdue.
Yeah, don't want to play any of them.
Don't want to play Purdue. Don't want to play Alabama.
Got to play Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, well, I would rather play.
I'd rather play Houston because their guards are small.
Yeah,
I mean they defend. It'd be a rock fight, but I'd rather play Houston than any of the other 3.
Yeah. So moving forward, there's not a panic on this team. This team should not hit a panic button even after the loss with at Vanderbilt. But you have a chance in these next 4 games and in the SEC tournament to completely right this ship and get the ball rolling. You just got to get consistent guard play because we've talked about it on this show before. I've said it my whole life. March is about guards, not
always
about
has been.
And if you're going to get 17 from Jalen and 20 from Janai, that's awesome. But you're not going to win in March if you get 11 from your backcourt.
No, you're not. And we saw that up close and personal last March when we faced a Miami team that ran 4 experienced guards at us and just beat the daylights out of a good Auburn team last year. So you go in, you play Ole Miss this week. You got to win that game.
That should be a
struggle busing right now. You ought to beat them by 30.
Yeah.
Then you go to Kentucky Saturday afternoon.
Who's playing really well too.
They played really well against Tennessee. They look really good. But they're as beatable as they have been for us at Rupp in a long time. We haven't won at Rupp since the 80s or something like that.
Yeah. No, been a while.
And then you go to Alabama. It would take a miracle. Somebody would have to be sick or hurt on Alabama's team for us to win at Alabama.
I think that'd have to be multiple.
Yeah. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
And then you get a Tennessee team that they just lost to Kentucky, got swept by Kentucky,
but they beat Alabama.
And so they beat Alabama to end a 3-game skid. Then they went to Kentucky and won and lost and didn't look very good. And now they go to Texas A&M midweek this week. Texas A&M can beat Tennessee. Don't think they can't, especially in College Station. So I think Tennessee is very beatable, especially on the road. We were down 3 with Wendell shooting a 3 to tie it and getting fouled and not called. In their building, and they played pretty good that game, and we played pretty good, not offensively. Both of us played really good defense, and I think our offense is much better at home than theirs was at their home. So I think Tennessee is a gettable game. I think Ole Miss is a gotta win, and then the other 2, Kentucky, see what happens. And don't expect to beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Yeah,
and then you go into the SEC tournament, especially if you win against Tennessee. That would be a good momentum.
Maybe get a top 4 seed then.
Yeah, maybe get the double bye, get away from Alabama in that bracket.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. So, but we'll go ahead and wrap this edition of the Jungle Show up. We'll be back later on this week to discuss the Ole Miss game and the last 3 games of the season, see where Auburn's ranked in those metrics, and see what we got ahead of us after the Ole Miss game. Thank you all for listening. If you want to find us on Twitter, just go to @GrayOldenburg, @WarEagleHoops. You can find the great stuff on auburndaily.com. Just go there or go to @TheAuburnDaily on Twitter. We'll be back. War Eagle.
War Eagle.